So today I woke up and I was like, man, I want to watch a movie that's captivating, something that people are waiting to watch, that's critically acclaimed. Yeah, so you guys know I watch Freakier Friday. Alright, so Freakier Friday. This is a sequel to Freaky Friday, if you couldn't tell already. And it's literally a copy and paste to the original Freaky Friday. You had the same director, you had the same cast with, you know, a couple other people. You had the same script, basically. Same ending, basically. Basically the same movie in a way, right? Just they're older and now they're, you know, what happens goes on with their kids. And in preparation for this movie, I watched the original one, you know, right before the movie. So I had a good idea, you know, it's been a long time since I watched it. And yeah, the original one, it wasn't bad, right? It was good, you know, 7 out of 10 or so, 7.5. You know, it was an alright movie. And this one, I have to say, is just about the same as that one. This one might be slightly better. I don't know. It's just, they're different, but like the same. Alright, so this movie was about an hour and 51 minutes, and to me that felt a little longer than it should have been. I mean, the first one was only an hour and 37 minutes or so, so this one was a little bit longer, and I feel like you could feel it. You know, there was some times there at the theater today where I was like, I'm trying to get comfortable, you know, like. And right now, this movie has a 76 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7 on IMDb, and I'd say that's a proper rating for this movie. And this movie is basically what you want a sequel to be. If I feel like it has the same kind of tone and life that the first one had, along with more characters, but it keeps the same story, keeps it all the same. So it's kind of like a good continuation of the first movie. You know, a lot of times you make a sequel and they feel tonally different or whatnot, but this one I felt like did a good job of keeping in the same world, the same tone, and even the comedy in there. But what I will say is, in my theater, there was a bunch of older people, you know, older ladies, honestly. I think I was the only guy. I don't know. but no, that's what I'll give it credit for. And let's just go over the movie, right? Let me give you some stuff that was good, some stuff that was bad, just give you a heads up of what you're going into. So like I said, there was some good comedy in here. There was some that made me like chuckle or like, you know, kind of smile a little, I guess. I don't know. The visuals, right? There was a scene in here that reminded me of Max Keeble's Big Move. If you've seen that movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, you know, with the food fight. There was a crazy scene in here that was kind of reminding me of like literally the same thing. And like I said, similar elements to the first movie. It's kind of like a good continuation, same tone and everything. And I think the new characters that came in the movie were good. You know, the two kids, they did a good job. And I feel like this one was slightly more emotional than the last one. So if you like, you know, movies that make you kind of tear up, I guess, you know, this will be good for you. But I mean, that's really all I got to say for the pros. I mean, this movie was literally the same thing as the first one, just more characters and a little bit more complex story. And for the cons, I'll start with, it was a little bit long. You know, the movie did kind of drag a little bit. I feel like they were doing some random stuff throughout that they could have cut it out. And while I said it was similar to the first one, it literally is like copy and paste movies. So I don't know if that's a con too, you know, it's literally copy and paste. And I mean, it's kind of hard to critique a movie like this, you know, they know that they're just silly and they're not really logical. So you know what you're getting. It's a simple 7 out of 10-ish movie. But another thing I'll say is Julia Butters, bro, I feel like she cries in literally everything. Like when I see her, I just picture her crying and tearing up. Like, come on. like seeing her in a movie, I feel like all I picture her is just tearing up, crying for those scenes. That's what she's cast in, I feel like. But besides that, guys, if you are a fan of the first movie, I think you'll like this one. It was a little bit different, but at the same time, very similar. And so if you are a fan of the first, I know you'll probably like this one. If you don't, then let me know why. You know, I'd be curious to know. But with that being said, I'm going to give this the salty popcorn. I don't think it deserves to be seen in theaters. But if you do watch it in theaters, I think you'll enjoy it. You know, especially if you have people to go with me. I was sitting there alone by myself. You know, no popcorn, nothing. Just in the back. Kind of lonely, but anyways, guys, those are just my thoughts. Comment below if you saw this and if you're gonna see this and what you think of this one or the, you know, the previous one. You know, I'm very curious to know. But with that being said, thanks for clicking on this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.